Hello my cabbages and welcome back to another mapping video. Last video was a lot more kind of scripted than usual because, you know, I wanted to include magic, but this video is a lot more freehand again, so see how it goes, and probably going to be more hectic and chaotic, but that's kind of how I like them, and also I'm too lazy to make a script. First, I'm going to have the red team fully colonize this island because, well, they want to, and also meaning that here we'll make them so. I do want to remember about this because there's always that like one layer or sometimes multiple layers in a mapping series that gets forgotten about. Like I'm looking at you, Ender, in your religion layer. But like, no, seriously, there's always some layer that gets left behind. I like to update my layers mostly. I got a new and updated religion layer, so we can see religion. And let's say while they're going over here, they find like a new group of people that were like, didn't really form a country, but they're kind of just there, so they have their own religion over here. So there's like, red team encourages like a bit on their religion, but like they have a completely separate religion. They didn't start like another country, it's just a religious area, but like still it's a different like no. So they have their religion creeping up here, but see what happens with that one. Foreshadowing, what's that? I've never heard of that. Eventually I'm gonna make all these borders like thinner because, you know, that's just what's gonna happen. Let's have the purple countries. They're a lot thinner than they were before, but they're slowly expanding because, you know, after the whole magic afoot, as I called it, event, it kind of shook up all like the armies, and like because of that they realized that they're not as strong as they once perceived. So like, even though they know the threat is vanquished, or at least they think the threat is vanquished, that's the most obvious twist ever that's gonna happen, but not for a while, because I kind of want to keep it back on different rails and not just repeat the same story or something. But yeah, they are increasing their military presence because they want to make sure if something like that ever happens again, smart, that they'll be prepared. So a lot of the countries are just expanding because they can. And it's also weird now because we have the cultural layer, which is like this. So this color has both the cultural layer of mix between dark red and light red, and also its own country, because there's no actual separate religion for it. There's like little pocket of red, light red, and dark red over here. So it's kind of confusing, but yeah, they also expand with their newfound freedom, and although it is not the most stable country because they do have mixed ideology right now, so it's kind of like it's basically the US currently. Yeah, you got the Democrats and the Republicans, except it's just the dark red and the light red because, you know, they have different worldviews. How do you think these borders got so horrendous? Like, it's only been like 3 episodes. Yeah, no. But basically all of them are just slowly expanding, partially because I don't have any idea what to do right now, and partially because it's realistic, you know. They have a lot of open land, big military presence, so they just need to expand because they want to. And yeah, no, I'm planning to keep the religion map updated because I really like the religion map. Like, I don't know, culture map, religion map, but like, I feel like a lot of people just forget about it, but it's like, it's my religion map and I want to use it. So all the countries just expand and all that, because of course they do. That's expansion. And then the light blue team, and the light blue team doesn't have enough population. The normal blue team decides to explore a bit down the coast. You know, let's take this up, and then they decide to explore. I need big rush and also red layer. They explore around the coastline here. Still big rush. They explore down the coastline, and they're like, huh. And this, I mean, maybe it's an island, maybe it's a peninsula. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do this, but they explore pretty far because honestly they've been cooped up for a while. And also, you know, how about Green Country explorers, and they all kind of explore a bit more because realistically, at this rate, they would have explored more because, you know, they're not that cooped up. But they go here, and well, they're exploring down here. I just said and twice. Wrong there. They find a new country, an orange team. Whoa, I definitely didn't just cut this because I realized I wanted to put a country down here and like I didn't want to do it live so I could have a little bit of a reaction. But yeah, so they have the orange team down here. It's a completely new team, pretty far away. So they're like, both of them were shocked that there's like more people out there, and they're like, whoa, outsiders. And the orange team, they're kind of like tribal. They don't really like outsiders because they're kind of used to being the only civilization in the area, so they kind of like kick them out. They're not like less advanced. I mean, partially less advanced. Like they're not as advanced, but it's kind of like, get out of our land. And like they have more populations because at this rate it was a long journey, so there's just like a small ship full of people. So these people actually don't know what happened because their ship just disappeared. Like they're like, what actually happened to our ship? So essentially the world is actually more like that because they don't know what happened. They just know they lost their ship, and at this rate, you know, they have a bunch of you know, they probably lose multiple ships. They're kind of like bummed about it, but they didn't know that they found something and they got murdered. So yeah, new orange team, guys. New country just dropped. But so they're just orange team. They're not keen on outsiders, and they have this, you know, we have this peninsula island. I don't know, it's kind of blocky, so it might be a peninsula, it might turn into an island. Who knows? That's the annoying part of having blocky borders. But basically, they have the orange team here. And similar with the orange and blue team, but now the orange and dark blue team, or the red and blue team, but now the orange and dark blue team, or Mr. Big Blue. I still love Mr. Big Blue. I'm never gonna let that die. In case you don't know, I'm you know, friends with Ender because, you know, I mean, if you haven't seen my Wixo multiplayer episode, he's gonna be the second person in the series. But there's a blue country, a dark blue country out here that forms because they steal the idea, even though technically the orange team didn't create the idea. So they still, but they didn't know about the idea, so they independently thought of the idea. It isn't plagiarism if you didn't know that you plagiarized it from someone, right? Am I right? But then, so they have this country, and then the orange team meets them, and they're like, another country? What? No, they can't do this. They're not allowed to do this. And if you're wondering why they don't have capitals yet, partially I'm lazy, but also, let's just say they haven't invented capitals yet. They're like, you know, how about we make them communist? They don't have capitals because capitals are too unbalanced. Because if you have a capital, then, you know, that's like too much of the, you know, centered in one area. So they're actually communist. Yes, I just made communists in my series. And if you're wondering, if you're like, oh, communism didn't exist that early, in case you didn't know, the ancient Inca civilization were communists. They're actually some of the most successful communist states ever. Like the Incas, like they conquered all of the Andes without the wheel, without writing, but with communism. But yeah, no, not a lot of people know that they're actually communist. But so the orange team has a little bit of tussle because they're like, whoa, this was our idea, and like they're saying they're communist, not quite. I could probably implement a, you know, system side kind of like Ender has, where it's just the whole South Block. In case you don't, yeah, I kind of like the Orange Country, especially it being communist, because if you don't know, I own the Orange Country in Ender series, so I haven't actually done much with it, but I will eventually. Don't worry about it.
I have video plans. But then they kind of fight black. Why are they black? Whoops. Jack Black is getting in the action. Yeah, Jack Black actually existed during those times, and he joined the war for Jack Black reasons, and because Jack Black said, I am Steve, that made the orange team win the war, so, no, they would probably have bigger might because, like, how big they are, but, because I don't want to just get away one of the first countries, I'm gonna make it so, boom, they have this part, and then the orange has a weird, wonky, kind of straight line border peninsula. Yeah, so they have that, and because they kind of split away, they're like, I no longer like communism, so they become monarchist, monarchists, because all of these other countries are basically monarchists, except this one, which is capitalist, but that one's the exception. Like, seriously, I don't know how they became capitalist so early in this, like, civilization, but let's turn and give them a capital, because they are not communist. Yay, the Viva la Revolution. Viva la Revolution, said the French. But, yeah, no. I have a partial favorite towards the orange team, because, you know, I like my country's orange. You know, how about we make them the yellow team? So, because the yellow team's the same, nah, that's too confusing. Like, even if they don't have a capital, it's still too confusing. Like, no. So yeah, they have this little tussle over here. Speaking of which, we should probably expand this area, because... Oh, no, I keep on doing that. I keep on showing... I haven't even used these map layers that much, but, like, you know, I do have, different, like, map layers under here. Like, I have a terrain map layer, which has a... Oh, the capitals are not weird. And then I also have a biomes map layer. But, I haven't really been using it that much. But, oh, I'm also gonna have to add religions for here, because of course, you know, they have religions. Oh my god, I did it again. The first, you know, ever communist religions. So I'll add that later, of course, but... Yeah, so there's a whole, you know, pocket of nations down here. So I'm kind of doing similar to Branch. If you don't know Branch, there's so many YouTubers that know that. And actually, he only has 14 subscribers, so you probably don't know him. But also, I only have 45 subscribers, so... But basically, like, realistically, civilizations just start in one area. Like, you know, the Americas, Mesopotamia, China, India, like, all of those civilizations were almost completely independent from each other. So, like, why would they all start from the same area? That just wouldn't make sense. There's a bunch of civilizations in places. The only reason is it's a bit hard for lore reasons to have it, like, you know, have them both kind of be important and not get sidetracked so often. But, like, I don't know, this map is still really big. Like, look, I mean, honestly, they've... Whoa, I lag. Oh, here we go. I mean, they've explored a decent amount, but, like, no, not really. Like, they've explored, if we put the fog layer on, like, they've explored this much so far. I mean, I guess it's only the fourth episode in. But, like, there's still so much out here, and at this rate, we might not actually ever explore it. But, yeah, they're still early civilizations, so like... It's always annoying, because then I have to find my way back to where they are. Yeah, no, so there's a whole world out here. There's a whole new world out here. Yeah, so they just exist on this island. But yeah, so yeah, small portion of the natural world, and they don't really know of each other right now, but they'll probably find out eventually. Anyways, the purple team decides to expand even more because they're the refugee nation, even though none of them are actually like at war right now. They're kind of just
they're honestly probably the most populous, because like the red team like did have a lot of population, but also no, not really. They're not really. They're gaining the most population. They got a large influx, but they don't really have that much population because they are kind of mostly affected by the war between the red team and the blue team, and the magic mayhem of all the skeletons, revived dead people's bodies, which would be very traumatic to see your dead grandpa fighting for, I don't know, was that? Yeah, but the thing is, like, honestly, probably the blue team, because, like, the red team right now is still really fractured. Like, it's still fractured in 4 pieces. Yes, they're more stable because they have a better ruler, but, like, they're still heavily fractured. And the blue team's really only fractured in 2. And that's just because of the ethnic minority, so, yeah, honestly, out of all of these teams, I think the blue team's doing the best right now. The red team's so fractured. Yeah, no, last episode was honestly not the most realistic because, like, the red team had a lot to get up from, and including the blue team because there was just a small dot before, it captured all the grayish blue team. So, but I need to have, like, another rivalry because, like, realistically, the blue team and the red team would die really quickly because it's always, like, starting with a red team or a blue team. And, like, realistically, the old empire should have never happened in, like, Wixo because, the country would be completely different by then. Like, there's Roman Empire is not around anymore. There's no Mesopotamia around anymore. There's no Egyptian, like, there are Egyptians, but, like, not really the same Egyptians. They've been conquered by the British, and, like, they still don't believe in that stuff, and, like, same theocracy, but I don't know. Who actually knows? But, I still find it unrealistic. But it's, like, unrealistic in a way that's good for storytelling, kind of with, like, civilization only starts from one area. It's unrealistic, but it's good for storytelling. So, I guess it kind of gives you a free pass, but, yeah, just expanding. This video is probably a lot more tame, other than, of course, New Nations, which is not as tame. But because, we just had a big war last episode, so, keeping it more tame. I think everybody's friendly really right now because, they had a war bonding experience. The dark red team is expanding quite a bit. I still find this really weird. And the thing is, they did get borders with the pink team anyways. But, how would I explain? Because it's kind of weird. But there's corrupt officials in the dark red team, because of course there has to be corrupt officials. So basically, there's, because if we look at the religion layer, which, why not slowly expand the pink religion? They want them to be cut off because they knew the red team didn't really like this new pink religion, but there was, like, people in the capital area that really liked the pink religion, and there's maybe in the eastern part of the capital there's been a slow pink religion movement over here, and it's been gaining popularity because, like, people like the pink religion. So there's, like, a lot of officials in the area that been trying to get more legitimacy, so keeping it away from the red team, because the red team was hurting its growth. So if you keep it away from the red religion that's hurting its growth, it expands, thus making sure, it grows dominant. Because, like, I'm thinking, like, Christianity, and basically, like, a bunch of missionaries, their goal is kind of to spread the religion, like, rather than just in the religion, which I still find weird. The whole thing that happened in Africa was not okay. But that's real history, and this is imitation of real history. So yeah, we have a pink movement near the capital up here, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on, because some officials, they're not really corrupt. It's just more that they want to help out a religion, and they're kind of like, eventually, after the pink religion slowly becomes strong enough, they think that they can open the gate, basically, and give this to the pink team, just willingly give this. So it was a bit of like, what are you doing? Why are you giving them our land? We negotiated for that. Like, I don't know why we did, but, like, can't we at least keep it? And they're trying to be like, it's an act of altruism and like helping out people, but it's really just an act of trying to expand the pink religion. They're basically just missionaries. They're missionary politicians. Politicianaries. They're politicianaries. Politicianaries. So they expand, except for this port, because there's a, there's a port here on the map, which kind of, honestly, it's a lot more mixed religion. So honestly, if anything, I feel like this area would spread. How about, who would they trade the most with? I feel like the red team really trades with the green team, because the green team is like the most economically stable, and so maybe this area, the green team religion actually starts to spread, so they have a little green team foothold. Interesting, because I like making interesting religion maps that tell a story, you know what I mean? So because this is like a port, it kind of becomes partially mixed religion, but also mostly green religion. But the pink religion, I would say slowly, but it's actually kind of quickly expanding. But yeah, so yeah, the pink team is doing pretty well, in a weird, political way. So there always gotta be some political hijinks happening. You gotta keep it interesting. Even though we just had a war last episode, there's still stuff happening. Don't worry, this series will definitely continue to be interesting, even though I'm improvising most of this. I should probably write like a loose plot, but honestly, so far, I feel like my ideas just like coming out of my head have been pretty good, like surprisingly so though. I don't know, I'm just a good ideas guy, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm just a good ideas guy. So, yay for ideas. So I guess I might just keep it unscripted, because I'm pretty good at coming up on things on the fly, and when I'm not coming up with things, I'm just expanding countries. So whenever you see me expanding countries, that's because I'm trying to think of something to do that would be interesting to continue the video, rather than actually just talking about it and then just being like, what to do now, or just like pausing the video, because that would be more editing work. And realistically, they are slowly expanding. But let's just say the green team's probably doing really well with the capitalist economy. They're probably, America has a big GDP because they're due part to capitalism, also due part to strong military. I don't know. But yeah, so the green team comes strong. They honestly become partially like America. Even though they don't have as much population, which honestly, I should add a population map. That would be really cool to add one. It would really help. They don't have as much population, but they spend like a lot of budget on their military because they have a lot of money. So they have, actually, America has more guns than it does people, which still is weird. But they basically have more guns than they do people. No, they don't have guns. What am I saying? No, they do not have guns. Let's just say they have more swords than they have people. Let's just say they're getting into the Iron Age about now. Iron Age, is that too early? Copper Age? Nah, I think this is Iron Age civilization. I think this should be, Bronze Age. I'll say it's Bronze Age civilization. Like, how about we do that? But, yeah, so they're slowly expanding. It's been a slow video, but I think that's all. And goodbye, my cabbages, and see you in another mapping video.